Hello and welcome to the first in a three-step journey we have to creating a new understanding for education through philosophy, through creativity and innovation, and through any other thoughts you might want to add to this. Again, my name is Dan Millant, and I want to immediately admit that I'll be stealing a great deal of my philosophical background from a guy by the name of Stephen West at Philosophize This. You can get to him at philosophizethis.com. He has a podcast that is the greatest thing ever created on this planet. Okay, that's a bit much. So anyway, our first step into this, let's dig right in, is a guy by the name. I apologize for that pause. Honestly, we're going to do this straight through, so I am not cutting, I'm not splicing, not making this perfect. You're going to get this as raw as we can do it because it is supposed to be fairly a stream of consciousness trying to tie together philosophy, education, creativity, all those things. So if you find some unnatural pauses, that's just the way it comes out, as if you and I were having a conversation together. So I hope you enjoy that aspect of this. The first thing stop is Nietzsche. How do we get into philosophy without working with Friedrich Nietzsche? And specifically, we are going to focus on his seminal work in Thus Spoke Zarathustra. All right, we are going to take education through the process of identifying ourselves as camels, and then we're going to challenge a dragon, take off the scale with being the lions that we are, defeat that dragon, and once we defeat that dragon, darn it, we are going to become children again and understand education from another point of view, from that fresh, childlike point of view. Okay, that's the overall goal. If we get there, great. If not, see if we'll send you a life vest along the way and trying to get us swimming again. All right. So the question is, we're going to start at the beginning. A couple quick kind of narratives to get through here. We need to understand why we do the things we do, like shaking hands. Why? At what point did I decide that shaking my hand in the air was a great way to indicate that I was non-verbally saying hello and goodbye to somebody? Was it efficiency? Did I model it after a dog's tail? That seems like a strange thing to do. Maybe it was a flag, unfurled, flapping in the wind. That looks like I could wave to someone and be just as happy as that flag. No, wait. Or did I even decide that at all? I mean, did I even come up with the idea myself that today I'm going to wave my hand and say hello or goodbye? And that's going to be the perfect way to do this. And what if I stopped shaking hands with people and waving my arms all around? What would happen? How will I say hello and goodbye without speaking? Did I even consider using my foot yet? That's it. From here on out, from today moving forward, I'm going to wave my foot and slap my foot against other people's foot just to say hello, goodbye, and dispatching people from my presence. Wave the feet. How could this possibly go wrong? So the point of that nonsensical thought experiment is really to one, can let you see into my internal dialogue and apologize for it immediately, and second is to bring back a process that we kind of looked at in some of that text by Runco about the product and process. And you'll see that if you think about why we do things, the idea of shaking your arm around to say hello is no different than slapping feet together. It's not as Wonderlandian as it may seem, right? And again, to be clear, if I haven't said this before, no one's asked you to stop flailing your extremities around in excitement to communicate non-verbally that you're saying hello or goodbye at all. By all means, that may be the ideal way to do it. In fact, it's one of the many things we have in common with our primate friends. They wave their arms around much too. This discussion is only about asking, are things that you do, choices that you've made, or were they prescribed by someone else, and they are the most efficient way to get through the day? Is that social utility worth what you've given up by not challenging that thought? And to that question, have we challenged each of the things that we do to make sure that they are the right things to do to get us to where we want to go, right? To take care of the people that we most care for in this world. If you're a teacher, that's your family and your students. Okay, so if you're not familiar with those types of questions, these are the philosophical ties that come from Friedrich Nietzsche, specifically Thus Spoke Zarathustra. So I can't go into all of it, but it's about essentially Friedrich Nietzsche wrote the story of a guy who went up to a cave, spent a lot of time up there studying how to be him and understand how this world went. And then he came down and he tried to share that philosophy of what he had found out. What he tried to share with everyone, Zarathustra, or Zoroaster, you might know him as, he shared that in life we go through 3 basic stages. Camel, where you're handed all the burdens of life and you have no idea why you're doing them, you just do them. You're a camel, you're a beast of burden, you've been trained to do things. Now, if you question enough and you get through this, then you become a lion. And that lion is attacking a dragon, and that dragon has scales on him that say, thou shalt use chalk when you write things on a board. Thou shalt sit in a chair. Thou shalt be there for 7 hours. Thou shalt join a team. Those are the thou shalts. That lion is supposed to attack that dragon, rip off those scales, and challenge everything. And if you make it through that, defeating that lion, and understand why you do things, not that you gave them all up, but if you get through there, then you become a child. So those are the stages. Camel, lion, child. Ideally, we'll make it through there, and we'll come back to this. Now, again, I'm stealing most of this from Stephen West, the great digester of all philosophy and sharer. I ask you to go visit his podcast. It's on here. It's on my page right here, so please get in there. And hopefully you will find as much as you can about this, because I am not doing it justice. But I'm going to take one moment. We're going to hit pause, and I want you to go listen to that. Or don't. But if you do, I think you'll get a lot out of it, and hopefully you'll become hooked like I have. Hey, while you're at it, go visit Simone de Beauvoir. She's up next. So here we go. Let's get into it and take a break and go take a listen, and we'll come right back. And there it was. So we just spent, I think that takes 20 minutes to listen to all that. So let's recap. You're born camels, beast of burden, given all sorts of things to carry that we didn't choose, but they seem to be the vast majority of things that we do in a day, right? And if you listen to the podcast, you got that hand gesture. You see, I stole that directly from Stephen. And the point is, we didn't really choose those things. We can choose, but will we? Will we choose not to use our hands next time? No, but this is step 1 in transformation, challenging all the weights that have been placed on our backs. And to bring this to education, because, we have to stick with education, because if you do that personally, challenge all the things you know about yourself, like waving your hand and brushing your teeth, it could get ugly fast. And I know this is a complicated thing, given the work we do each day. It's hard to challenge all the things we know about education and considering them as weights on our back as camels. But think of it this way. If you just take 2 weeks before next week, 1 week, 2 weeks, I prefer 2, but take 1, whatever, and write down on anything, in notes on your iPhone, I don't care if you scratch it on your desk, things that are education that perhaps we didn't choose to do that are just done. And each week, you're going to write down those things and ask yourself questions that look something like this. Why exactly do I do this? Why do students do this? What do students gain by me doing this? What do they gain by doing this? And what if I stop doing this? All these things that you're not even sure why they exist. I want you to question everything. Doors, floors, desks, hair, anything, you name it. All sorts of questions. Question it and move on. Don't try and converge on the answer yet. Don't try and solve it. Pause. Don't try and solve any of the problems. Just ask the questions. I understand that in a school day, we do not have time for bathroom breaks, much less philosophical self-surgery. But I want to respect your time, so give it a shot. All right. So it's 2 weeks later. Hope that went well. You began doing this. You made it as a camel. You challenged all these things. So educationally, right now, you are an educational lion. In front of you stands an educational dragon. The Goliath that is, that's mixing metaphors there. So a dragon in front of you on his scales, that protected, that is his armor on his chest. They each say, thou shalt. That thou shalt, those are the questions you were just asking, that you just spent the last week or 2 asking. Those are all the thou shalts. And you're pulling them off one at a time, but now we got to attack. You've ripped them off. That dragon is defenseless against your sharpened wit and newfound ability to perceive your environment. You see things as they really are. Keep attacking. And when you find a scale that makes sense, let's say you rip a scale off and you decide, okay, hey, this one makes sense. Students shall wash their hands. That's a good thou shalt. What's the matter with that? Keep it. I didn't tell you to throw it away. Just challenge it as long as you asked. That's the important part. So understand, that dragon gets to keep his dignity. You rip it off, and if washing his hands is great, he gets to keep it. But you've done that legwork. And here's the reason. And for the sake of time, we are going to assume that you attacked that dragon, ripped off all the scales, kept on some that mattered, but you've attacked that scale and you've defeated him. You are the lion triumphantly in charge of you. So now what? What are you going to do now? Well, here's where it gets a little tricky, because one of two things will have happened. One, now that you're that lion walking around having challenged every single thing that's going on around you, you may be a crazy person. Yeah, it's true. You may be standing in your school telling everyone that they have fallen prey to the matrix and they can't see things as they really are. This is a super unhealthy place to be, and your voice is probably being drowned out by the sounds of sirens coming for you to put a jacket on you and take you away. And while you're at it, this whole matrix thing you're going through, while you're there, find Morpheus and tell him to dial it back a notch. You don't have to save the whole human race just yet. Just do you for now. If you can just take care of you, that's a good deal. All right, that's one of the cases. You may just be howling at the moon right now. The other thing that might have happened, you may have become an educational nihilist. So stand clear. I'm sure you know this nihilist group. People usually have a lot of guideliner on. They say the world means nothing. It has no meaning. They've realized that the world, doesn't have someone guiding it. So they wander around wondering what the meaning of life is at all. Well, that could be you educationally right now. Like, what's the point? I can't fix all this. Stand real clear, because you're going into Earth's orbit way too fast and you're starting to burn up. You'll still find yourself wearing that extra guy liner we just talked about and telling everyone how stupid they are for accepting the nonsense. All right, you may find yourself in the bathroom screaming, "Transcend, everybody, transcend." And again, nobody's going to want to hear that. Here's a good way of figuring out if you've gone too far, just in case you're not sure. If you're talking to someone who has similar thoughts as you right now, and they are saying things like, maybe we should do more cursive. I remember that was an important thing to do. Or bring back corporal punishment to make things right again. Yeah, you've aligned yourself wrong. You found the wrong group of friends. Run. All right? Get out of the fetal position. We can help you. We're about to transcend past this. Okay, so to recap, you've realized the most important thing, that the most of the things we do are given to us by someone else for the sake of utility and keeping society efficient, and you're willing to challenge those things and get those weights off your back. You just unbecame the camel. You're uncameled. You've taken the form of an educational lion, and now you slayed the dragon with all those scales of educational thou shalt. And you were standing on the carcasses of camels and dragons, and now what? Great view. Not a productive place to be, but it's a great view. Now, Nietzsche has the final suggestion. Stage 3. You're to become a child. And as a child, if you have a child and you have a nephew, a little cousin, or if you have a baby of your own, you realize they go through life at the very beginning with a sacred yes. Let me try this. Let me do this. This is your turn to take that point of view as an educational leader. And if you're a teacher, you are still a leader. That's right. You heard me say it. You're still a leader. It's your turn to make meaning of this. The nihilist finds no meaning in education or in the world. And now we're telling you maybe it's not the world's job to make you understand what's going on. It's your job to make meaning of it yourself. You've stopped saying no to everything like you did as a lion. You're looking at learners with new eyes and saying yes. You're looking at the environment and saying, yes, I can try that. You're willing to challenge it and say, if that works, great. If not, discard it. Right? Remember, as camels, we were looking for meaning. That meaning came from colleges, parents, schools, friends, government, all those things. But that's not working out. But we're in charge of us, fully affirming. We are fully affirming educators. You know what is real and what is prescribed. You may have chosen a bunch of those weights. Don't forget, if you chose those weights, as you said, okay, that made sense. That hand washing, that's darn well. You don't take that away. It's gross. Keep it. We got to keep that. And when you're thinking of, you're getting closer to these goals. So once you've unloaded those weights and you became that lion, now you've set these incredibly ambitious goals for yourself. Keep going. Even when you reach one of those goals, make a bigger one. Plan on never having a destination. Because one of the things about being a child is you keep reiterating this whole process. You see something, you challenge it, you see it in new eyes, and you either accept it, reject it, or move on, right? You keep going back into this transcended child teacher state, back to camel teacher state, back to lion teacher state, and through and through. Okay, that was quick. Be interesting to hear your thoughts on all this. This journey is frustrating. It's uncomfortable and alienating at times. In my position in particular, I find myself alone quite a bit, but I have to work with teachers and understand their perspectives on all this. When teachers teach, it's not because they want students to only know facts. It's just what they know. That's the mythology that they own. And we'll get into the mythology in the third session of this thing. But understand that nobody is out there. Most, I should say nobody, 99.99% of the world of teachers are not doing things because they want to irritate kids. It's because they want to do right. Understand it from that perspective. Challenge with them along the way. And try and replicate that style of thinking a little bit. So our goal is to become that over teacher, the uber teacher, the super teacher, whatever we want to call ourselves, or super leader. In this process, meaning will be found one way or another. Good luck, and I really look forward to hearing your thoughts on this. And as a quick note, down below here, I offer one last thought experiment. Think of that model we just gave you, Nietzsche's camel, lion, and child. That's a metaphor for transcending and challenging and becoming a new version so you can see things a new way. Try using one of the metaphors of your own in your own field or a passion you have, where someone moves from something that's acted upon to something that challenges assumptions to seeing things as if they were brand new. Okay, I have my own. Hopefully you'll share that with us. But share in the comments below, and I look forward to hearing from all of you. Okay, thanks for staying with us. And next up, challenging the ambiguity of existence. Educational existence, that is.